Hey, so it is 9:35 on a Monday night. CLG's just finished, and we are preparing for a Stones lesson. We are teaching that God made His people in His image. This is from our human nature and our sin is the big truth that we're learning about. God made the world is the Bible story, so we're going to tell the Genesis 1 and 2 story, probably Genesis 3 if we're talking about sin. No, we're not, because God made people in His image is the thing. Every good and perfect gift is from above. Okay, God made me. That's the point. God made me. That is the whole point of the lesson. All right, this early arriver free play thing, what is going on here? If I go to the email that I was sent and I go to the lesson plan guide, then this shows me what's going to happen, what this early arrival free play means. As the children arrive, have toys out for them to get comfortable in the classroom. Please relate what they're saying, what they're playing with, to the story. Okay, how are we going to do that in this lesson? We are going to the story or the theme. Okay, so because God cares for the world. Okay, so God made me. God made the world. God cares for the, okay, yeah, care for the dolls, just like God cares for the world. God cares for you. Build a house. Talk about how mum and dad care for you in the house. Okay, we could build a house. We could care for dolls or any other toy. We take care of it because God takes. Okay, yeah. So we are imaging God. We are being His image when we care for our toys the way that God cares for us. All right. God made me. Have dolls. Hold them up to the mirror. Ask kids what they see in the mirror. Tell them that what they see in the mirror is their reflection. It looks like them, it's not really them in the mirror. Okay, so that points to how God made me as a reflection of Him. If we hold dolls up to the mirror, sure, yeah, that's fun. Encourage kids to build their own creations. Oh yeah, this will be an easy one to get the kids to do. Okay, so they'll just come in and we'll have blocks out and, okay, so the plan is that the kids will come into the room and we will not have all of the toys out. That's what the lesson plan guide here says. What are some other tips? In each room there should be a few toys out. Playtime should still be somewhat structured. Now this is one of my favorite parts, is actually just playing with the kids. It's not like they're playing and then I'm watching them play and kind of talking to them as they're playing. I'm playing with them and we are creating this kind of analogy for what we're going to learn out of the toys. I love that. During this time, we should have out a few puzzles. Okay, so blocks or cars as some dolls. I haven't actually seen the puzzles out at this time. I think previously the puzzles, I've been told that the puzzles are for like the last thing. If we've run out of things to do, we bring out the puzzles. That's kind of how we're using them. And 3-year-olds struggle with puzzles quite a bit. 4-year-olds can do them, but anyway. Then music can be played softly during this time. So, yep, if we want, we can play some music. Most of the toys should remain in the cabinet. Yeah, okay. Every time is imagination time. But free play especially. Okay, believe in the situation the toys are in. Yeah, that's right. Lead the children by asking questions about the situation that the toys are in and ask about their own life. Okay, so some of this is free time. Some of this is imagination time. Some of these things are not really about imagination. Some of the dolls, sometimes we role play with the dolls. That's not happening today, really. Okay, I mean this Friday. What else? Does Mummy or Daddy read the Bible to you before they sleep? So we can relate it to their own lives. Yeah, that's a really cool one. Don't be shy to join in the play and tell them what they're doing. Let's build a church. What do we need to make breakfast? Let me do it with you. Yeah, that's a really good way of doing it. It's a really good way of getting kids to play what you want to play as if you are, or what you want them to play as if you play it, and then they play it back to you. What's another thing? Memorize the theme point sentence. Okay, what's the theme point sentence? God made me this time. And say it to them in the context of the situation the toys are in. Of course, yeah, duh. All right, so then we've got to clean up. So we've got to make a game of it. Okay, because that's the next thing on that. What's clean up time and then story time. So it doesn't really go into clean up time on the lesson plan in much detail, but it does in the lesson plan guide. says we got to make a game of cleanup by helping us find all the blocks. Yeah, it's great. I need you to. Or I try singing a cleanup song. Yeah, that could work. Sometimes it doesn't work. Let's see if it works this time. Kids like structure. So if you make it fun, kids will enjoy cleaning up with you because they know there's something exciting coming. So if you make the story time fun, then when kids clean up, they want to clean up because once they've cleaned up, then they get story time. Yeah, that makes sense. 7 ideas for teaching toddlers. Bible open. Oh yeah, I often forget this. Hey, have your Bible open as you tell the story. That's the one thing I've left in this plan. Story time. So although we read from this paper, we still want the Bible to be the thing that's the kids know it's the Bible being taught, you know. Then we've got use short sentences, few words, be animated in facial expressions, incorporate movement into the story and singing, create routines. Yeah, okay, yeah. Use repetition, keep it short and sweet. Okay, now a lot of these stories that we have in these things, they don't have those techniques, but this one seems to. This one seems to have it. On day 1, kids hold up one finger. Day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. So the tricky thing might be to keep them interested after that, but that is a good hook. So what comes after that? On day 6, God also said this. So God spoke and made everything, but there's something different. So that's exciting. So that can be a really big facial expression moment there, something different. God took some dirt and breathed it into the man. So reacting to the words that you're saying is a good idea. Took one of Adam's bones. Have kids find their, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Have kids find their ribs. And used it to make the first woman Eve. God made Adam and Eve special. Okay, so I'm going to read this story. I'm going to try to get most of it in my head so that I don't have to read really much from this. I'm able to just communicate the story. Maybe I would look at this to cue me on what I'm supposed to say next, but I really want to be able to tell this story as if it's just coming out of me explaining it to the kids rather than me reading a story. I think that's a big difference. But yeah, interesting. Okay, let's keep on going with the lesson plan. So we've got these story review questions. These are important, but the tricky thing is, how do we keep them engaged during question and answer time? If we make it a game, if we make it like a quiz, maybe they'd be interested, but we'd have to have really stern rules. If we have rules, then they're able to keep on, paying attention and being invested in the game of story review. Well, does this have anything to say about story review? Title of the story, there's the story. Okay, there's lots of story tips here as well. Okay, that would be a great read. Story review questions, not trying to get the kids to think critically, but to catechize them. Okay, so yeah, kids this age don't really, their mode of thinking is tell me the truth and I will repeat it back to you. So I've told them the truth already, so what's the response? Yeah, what is the appropriate response to this question? That's what they want to know. Okay. These questions reveal the main parts of the story to emphasize. Okay, you may not get through all of them before you have to keep the kids focused. Yeah, okay, obviously. Great, and then we go on to the next page. So this story review questions, I'm going to have to think about how to ask these questions in a really engaging way, and yeah, how I would answer them in a really short sentence. I'm going to have to do that before I get to the class. Let's take a look at some of these story elements. No toys out, yeah, duh. So put them back in the cupboard. Help kids to want to sit down. Consider something like a bell to draw their attention, or a circle of chairs on the carpets. So yes, circles are great. Anyway, consider sitting on a chair. Yeah, okay, try to do the same thing as the other teachers, and the same thing every time you serve so that kids get used to the format of story time and mentally prepare to listen simply by the physical situation. Yeah, I remember last week I just popped in and I saw that the kids during the story time were all sitting on chairs, but they weren't sitting around the tables. They brought the chairs out to the carpets, which is what Elizabeth did. So I want to do the same thing as her so that we keep it consistent for the kids the whole time. I could also ask other teachers before her what they do for story time and try to keep it consistent. Let's keep on going. They don't make story time too long. You only have their attention for 3 minutes, unless it's interactive and there's lots of variety. So this one is interactive. This one does have these sorts of things, but this little section here is going to be have to be really short. I'm going to have to really succinctly say all of this and not ramble. Okay, what's the next thing I want to do? I want to make sure to get the kids ready for story time. Okay, do other teachers and the same thing every time you serve. Yep, we talked about that one. Contact the other volunteers and ask how they tell us. We talked about that. Make sure to get all the kids ready for story time. Have the teacher not telling the story, like the helper, focus on the distracted kids or the stragglers. Okay, so if you're the helper in a situation and someone else is telling the story, that means your job is to help the distracted kids. Try to keep them as close to the group as possible so that your arms are free for multiple kids who are distracted. Let's keep on going. Make sure to make the story engaging. Use a wide variety of tones of voice, massive facial expressions. Try not to read off the page, but use the Bible as prompts, that's a good idea. Stand up and act out different parts of the story. Get them to repeat keywords back to you. Oh, I love that one. Tell them something and then rephrase what you said as a question. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, give them actions to copy for different parts of the story, repeated parts of the story, actions to copy. Yeah, we already have that. That's really good. Pray. Train your heart to care about the story in your preparation time. Okay. Pray that you would grow through meditation on the story. Yeah. Deeply understand the point of the story, what it says about God and what that means for you. Yeah. See the bigger picture the story fits into. And worship God for the story, main point, and real life consequences. That makes a lot of sense. That if we are affected by the story, then the kids are more likely to be affected by the story. If you want to change an aspect of the story, emphasize a different aspect than the manuscript emphasizes, please ask your children's ministry director first. Yeah, that's wise, because it's a really good idea. If you have an idea to improve this, then you really want to do that. Don't just not do it because you have to follow the script. Just ask your authority if you're allowed to emphasize a different part. I think collaboration is a really important thing when it comes to kids because it's so easy to get wrong, especially with the Bible. All right, so remind the children every week that this is a story from the Bible. Insert the main point sentence more than once. Is the main point sentence in here more than once? Or God made the first woman, or God made... Okay, so I could repeat God made me several times in the story. Okay, probably towards the end. Okay, that all makes sense. Great to do this. Now, this is a really important page. I really like this page because this is stuff that's actually really fun for the kids. A lot of people play Play-Doh. A lot of people play... I haven't seen as much Simon Says, but that's a really fun game for active kids. Mirror game could be another fun game for kids. God made people. Activity with 3 or 4 year olds. Okay, outline for your group. Okay, so I'd need really big paper. I'd need to either bring in craft paper or have craft paper in the cupboards. After telling the story, talk about how God made all the people like him, also made us all special and different. Have some markers or crayons around, have one kid at a time draw a part of a person. Yeah, until everyone has a chance to add to the person outline. Then hang the person up the wall, sing heads, shoulders, knees and toes. God made every part of you. Okay, God, yeah, that's a fun little thing. We can't not do that. That's really cool. And I think sometimes teachers get scared of doing this type of really kind of game-like thing because you have to be a really engaging teacher to do them. But they're really engaging games, you know? So I think they're really worth doing, especially for the active kids in the class. Now, what does this page say about the teacher-led activities? Decide before the day which, obviously, because we probably wouldn't play all of the games that are listed. Arrange with the other teachers which games we play. Okay, so communicate. You can't just rock up and expect them to be on the same page as you. Arrange with the other teacher to have if you will have two games playing at once. Yeah, some of these, like if you read a book, maybe some kids won't be interested in the book, so you want to play find the symbol with the other kids or pass the symbol with the other kids. But, you know, if classes are small enough, you can just have one going. Have knowledge of how to play the other games, just in case you need to play one unplanned. So plan which ones you will choose, but know about the other ideas just if you run out of time and you need to bring something else into the lesson. You have one of these up your sleeves. Okay. We have a bunch of these actually are always in the like prayer prompt cards and prayer praise hunt and fishing for good news. I think they're always in the box. And a lot of these are kind of always in the box. Anyway, let's keep on going. We learn the verse. That's a pretty simple thing. Just get them to copy your actions and chant the verse after you. They really enjoy that. Yep. Okay, and these are some really good tips to help us keep on, to help us learn the verse. Ask a volunteer to do it by themselves. Oh, a volunteer kid. Right, yeah. And after making a song verse, if there isn't one. Oh, yeah, you could make up a song for this. Right. After you've taught it, remind them of the memory verse throughout the lesson, especially right before they leave. Okay. So after we've taught this, what's the verse today? Every good and perfect gift is from above, which is James 1:17a, I think, or maybe it's the whole verse. But this is, so I'd repeat that during snack time, during the singing time in between songs, maybe we could repeat it in between the songs. That'd be great. And during the coloring page, we could repeat the memory verse as well. Okay, and these crafts are usually pretty self-explanatory. You could just kind of do them. Okay, that makes sense. So I would read these craft instructions and I will understand them. I'll make sure to sing these 4 songs. Whatever we do, we will whatever other songs we sing that the class likes to sing, we will sing these 4 songs. Now, these 4 songs are often not printed out on and taped to the wall. So I would have to either have this page, which is already printed out for me when I get to the classroom, or I would print out a page of just these lyrics for me to read them in big writing and sing them. Because the kids don't read, so they don't need to see the poster. Yeah, but they do like posters. But a lot of these ones that are on the lesson plan don't have posters for them. Okay, let's see what this has to say about singing time. So for prayer time, okay, these are some really great things to do during the lesson. So praying not only during the prayer time, but also during the lesson in various different times. Pray before the snack, pray briefly, 1 sentence prayers maximum. Okay, and not more than that, but pray often and briefly. Prepare to pray. Okay, write out your prayers. Okay, for the sake of the request and for the sake of the kids to learn. Yeah. So that when you ask God for something, you're not just stumbling over your words. I mean, I know God knows what you mean, but we want to communicate with God in a way that helps others know that we are prepared to come before God, that we think of Him as worthy of our time and preparation to ask Him of things. And also He is worthy of that time and preparation to ask Him these things. And He takes that into consideration. As He is sovereign, He will decide what He decides, but yeah, anyway, it's good for us to prepare. Pray with the kids. Speaking of way kids understand, proclaiming slowly and with emphasis. You know, we could even ask the kids what they want prayer for. I think that could be powerful, but maybe they're too young for that still. We'll find out. Singing time. Kids love to sing. Make sure the songs are biblical, go along with the point of the lesson. We could dance to songs on the CD. Okay. We don't have a CD in the Stones room. We have those USB players. All of the Sandbox songs are displayed in the rooms. Songs that go along with a specific lesson are in the lesson. For Pebbles 2, pick simpler songs. Yeah. Add motions to the songs to engage the kids. You may use simple musical instruments. Let them dance and play while you sing. Yeah, that's a great idea. Repeat the main point of the memory verse every time you stop. Okay, yeah, I like that a lot. And that makes it more of a game that we keep on playing. So then we've got snack time. So there are some very important instructions for snack time. If your kid has an allergy band, don't let them eat the snacks. Help them eat the snacks from home. Now make sure to thank God for your snack. Give the kids water during snack time. So one volunteer will go and get water and come back. There always needs to be 2 people in the room at the time. So we would either ask the admin to get water, or we would ask the admin to step into the room. Yeah, I think asking the admin to get water is a fine and easy thing, unless they need to be somewhere else, which is hard. We'd probably have to wait for the admin to be free to do that, but we'd let them know that we're waiting for them. Then we have kids to either be sitting at the table or sitting on the floor. Kids shouldn't be walking around. Snack time is also a good time to review the story and chat with the kids in a group. Snack time is a good time to review the story and chat with the kids in a group. Okay, so we could ask these questions. If we don't get through all of these questions, story review questions, then we could ask some of these. So it's really good to have these memorized, or a lot of the important parts of the story memorized, or a lot of the parts of the story to have impacted yourself, so that when you get to this snack time, that you're able to just bring these up, even though you're exhausted in the middle of a lesson. Snack time can be a great time to calm kids down, maybe the end of a session waiting for parents, or like younger kids, like Pebbles 2 who've just moved from Pebbles 1, they could be good to give biscuits. For the older kids, maybe it's not good to give them to the end of the session because they go a bit crazy, maybe. Snack time is also a good time for story time. Try to move to having no snack during the story. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. This is probably a Pebbles 2 note more than a Stones note. Stones are kind of more used to sitting and listening a little bit. Craft and colouring time. So kids should be seated at tables, no toys out. Sitting at tables, parents arrive is a great way to end the session calmly. So we shouldn't really start the colouring page time until it's almost time to go, or it's going to be time to go in about 5-10 minutes. Colouring page time takes a long time, actually. Be sure to have the kids help you clean up. Yeah, don't just clean up by yourself. Get the kids to help you. Kids love getting given helpers tasks. Then we've got the colouring page. As kids work on their colouring sheets, remind them on the main point of the memory verse, the big truth songs. Make sure to understand the craft. Consider making it at home or even at UCCD. Material is prepared for you unless stated otherwise. Okay, so I don't need to print anything out, any of this. So I'll make sure to understand what this is and what this is. Some of this might not be for my lesson, it might be for 9:30. Yeah, this 9:30. Except I just want to point out on this lesson, just for you watching this, for this particular lesson, that there's like an outline of a person. So if we wanted to we could use the face instead of the big life-size person. So we could use this face and get different people to draw on the eye, one nose, one mouth, maybe some wrinkles, maybe some facial hair or something. Or maybe if it's a girl, maybe some long hair, you know. Okay, and then we could do this activity. Maybe we could do it in groups, and we could have
we could praise God, sing Heads and Shoulders song with those things. Okay, that makes sense. Sometimes there is one of these which has an attachment at the end of the lesson as well. Okay, I hope that this has been useful for you. I hope that this has added something to the way that you would think about preparing a lesson. And I look forward to teaching this one. It seems like it's going to be a really fun lesson, teaching kids about how they're made in God's image. Okay, thank you for taking the time to think a lot about how you prepare a lesson, which is a lot of, like, most of the work getting in there. You kind of just, you do it, but the work is beforehand, really, isn't it? Anyway, like to God bless you and have a good time teaching the kids and preparing to teach the kids.